Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started, and we begin with weather tonight because today kicked off our stretch of sweltering weather. Temperatures expected to top 100 degrees potentially for several days in a row. Right now there's an excessive heat warning in place. Let's get right outside to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Lagoon. Jeremy, at this time last night we were still in the 80s. Is that the case again today?
Yes, it is. It is incredibly warm. Mark, I actually braced myself for some cooler weather when I stepped out of the building, and it was still that punch of heat in the face. That's the reason we have the excessive heat warning, because you don't really catch much of a break even as the sun goes down in our current weather pattern. 88 degrees is the current temperature reading at Spokane International Airport. On the South Hill, you are down in the 70s. Basically, think this. Coeur d'Alene and the South Hill seem to be very close in terms of temperature during this heat wave. 70 up in Sandpoint, Deer Park at 69, 86 in Ritzville, and still in the 90s in Moses Lake and Wenatchee. It is hot. Tonight, we do drop down to near 70, but tomorrow, heat's back on. Now, when it comes to dropping down to near 70, that's basically going to be at sunrise. The sun is incredibly intense. We're warming by about 8:30. We're already up near 80 and climbing. Hundreds tomorrow, and it stays warm the next few days as we head into the weekend. Triple digits Sunday as well. Coming up in the full forecast, we're talking when that cooler weather works its way in.
Sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. And with the extreme heat upon us, organizers of the homeless camp off I-90 in Freyja put up a large cooling tent in a move to keep people safe. KREM 2's Janelle Finch has more now on how people at the camp are responding to the new addition.
At last count, Julie Garcia with Jules Helping Hands says more than 600 people are living at this homeless encampment off of I-90. This tent behind me, she says, can hold up to 200 people, which has the potential to serve at least a third of the people living at the camp, providing them relief from the extreme heat. Some people at the homeless camp growing in the East Central neighborhood are feeling the heat.
It is excruciating. You cannot stay cool. I mean, we're taking ice water and just pouring it on ourselves just to try to cool down. And works for a couple minutes, and then you're right back to, like you see, I'm sweating. Like it's hot.
Chris Sen has lived in a tent on the state-owned property for 4 months. He says to cool off, he would visit rivers and splash pads.
Some of us have transportation, go over to the river. Like Underhill Park, like 7-8 blocks from here, they got a splash pad there.
But now Sen and other campers won't have to go as far to get heat relief. Nonprofit Jules Helping Hands is operating a 60 by 30 foot cooling tent across the street from the camp. Organizer Julie Garcia says with triple-digit temperatures, she wanted to step in to support the vulnerable people living nearby.
There's ice, water, snacks. There will be a meal served here.
Construction on the tent began Tuesday afternoon. By Wednesday midday, the tent was open for people to use.
Any tent city would need this. I mean, it's a lifesaver. You know, in triple digits, people die in this heat. So, I love it.
Garcia says the Washington Department of Transportation is aware of the tents, but Jules Helping Hands did not receive an official permit. And while the company doesn't permit the activity on the state-owned land, Joe McHale with WashDOT says the company doesn't want anyone to have a medical emergency on its property. He says WashDOT understands that people need relief from the heat now through the weekend, and the company won't be getting in the way of the services Jules Helping Hands provides. Garcia says the Empire Health Foundation is paying for the tent. She says the foundation is also paying for staff to work as security in the tent, as well as walking through the camp across the street. She says the tent will be up for the next 10 days. In Spokane, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Also new at 10 tonight, all 4 Spokane libraries are extending their expanded hours through Sunday to help people escape the heat. Originally, the Shadle Park, Liberty Park, Hilliard, and Central libraries were going to be open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. until Saturday, but with the high temperatures reaching near 100 on Sunday as well, they decided to add one more day. So in addition to the 4 libraries with increased hours, the city encourages people to use its splash pads and pools to cool down all this week as well. Today, the construction on Thor and Freyja moved into its next phase. Previously, all traffic was directed onto Freyja while Thor was being worked on. Now, all traffic has moved to Thor so crews can work on Freyja. Crews have been replacing the asphalt with concrete on Thor and Freyja for the last 4 months now. Drivers and businesses have had to adapt to several traffic changes while navigating the South Hill. Management at Wicked Glass says construction took a toll on business. But one of the co-owners says he is hopeful for the return of customers now that Thor is open.
It was a ghost town around here. You know, there's no cars going by, no one's showing up as much. we're down 50% in business. So like, yeah, it was a big hit for sure. But it's looking up. It might take a little bit for people to realize that it is open and like how to get through this area. But yeah, I'm relieved and I'm happy that it's opened up again.
This moves the city into phase 4 of 7 in its $8.9 million construction plan. As of July 1st, the city reported that construction is on track to be completed by November. Drivers should continue to pay attention to new roadway signs and detours. In developing news tonight, earlier this evening, crews responded to a water rescue call on West Downriver and North Pettit near the Spokane River. Right now, the Spokane Fire Department has confirmed that one person has died after being pulled from the river. We do know that person drowned and, according to firefighters, was not wearing a life jacket. Officials say the person was swept into the river at some point. This is a developing story, and we will bring you more updates just as soon as we get them. And now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. A Spokane Valley family lost nearly everything in an RV fire yesterday, and today they share their account of what happened.
He said the camper was on fire and I saw the smoke, and so a bunch of us tried to get the hoses and do it, but it was just too, the flames started coming through the ceiling, so it was time to get away from it, and my son went in and grabbed a dog, and yeah.
Angel Smith says she and her 2 children were staying in her RV temporarily. The home they were renting was having major plumbing issues that caused some mold damage, so they moved most of their belongings into the RV until the repairs were done. Well, coming up in just about 10 minutes, how the family found out about the fire and how they're doing tonight. Spokane police continue to search for a suspect in a stabbing in downtown Spokane. It happened yesterday on the south side of the Monroe Street Bridge. The victim was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Anyone with details on the suspect's whereabouts is asked to call Crime Check at that number at the bottom of your screen. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office 911 Center is currently at critical staffing levels, so now the call center is being forced to make changes to how non-emergency calls are handled. Calls will now be sent to a phone tree. The caller can then leave a voicemail, and when dispatchers have the time, they'll review the voicemails and call for services based on the information that they have.
The city is also formulating an action plan that will include strategies to address and reduce homelessness in our community. It begins by connecting with people and helping them get to available services to get them out of their homeless condition. If a homeless person here in the valley is genuinely trying to escape homelessness, we're here to help.
Spokane Valley Mayor and City Council held their State of the City today. They say their #1 priority this year is focusing on public safety. They'll also expand officer recruitment efforts and more collaboration with the community, they said. Another main point discussed was the growing homelessness issue. The city plans on creating an outreach team to connect people to services and conducting a regional point-in-time count. They also talked about how companies like Amazon and events at the Spokane Valley Performing Arts Center helped with the city's economic development this year. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Well, the last 2 former Minneapolis police officers involved in the 2020 killing of George Floyd were sentenced today in federal court.
Alex's family is so sad that we will not be able to get to see him for a while, but we will see him again. And it does not escape us that Mr. Floyd's family and friends will not.
Today, a judge sentenced J. Alexander Kang to 3 years in prison for violating the civil rights of 46-year-old Floyd. Another ex-officer, Tu Tao, received 3.5 years behind bars for his role in Floyd's death. Both were convicted in February of depriving Floyd of his right to medical care, while Derek Chauvin pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes. They were also convicted of failing to intervene to stop Chauvin. In other national news, Mega Millions is now Mega Billion. This comes after last night's Mega Millions drawing produced no winners. So now the jackpot has swelled to more than $1 billion for Friday's drawing, one of the largest jackpots ever. Mega Millions has now gone 29 consecutive draws without a jackpot winner. The biggest ever lottery payday was $1.58 billion. That Powerball jackpot was won back in 2016. If you're planning to buy a ticket, good luck to you. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. After the break, we have an exclusive interview with the family who lost nearly everything in an RV fire. We'll share how they're doing tonight after the break.